I took away all the towel seat reservations at the resort. I was on holidays in an all-inclusive resort. First day, we couldn't find any lounge chairs by the beach or by the sea. Fair enough, we arrived in the afternoon. Next day, we go to find a spot, but most of the spots were taken by towels. We find an empty seat and to our surprise, many of the chairs stay reserved almost the whole day or never get used. Third day, we decide to take some towels off 2 loungers and enjoy our day. 4 hours in, an older couple shows up that they had towels there and kick us off with help from an attendant. That pissed me off, so every following day I went to take the towels off of every unattended lounger after breakfast, and then went to watch the chaos from my balcony. Many people complained, and by the end of the week there was a sign that unattended towels would be removed. Success. Charged them the same family rate they charged me. My child's daycare had a death in the family. It's a small, family-owned place, so this affected all the employees. They sent out an email at like 3 a.m. I couldn't miss work, as I had a very important day, so I scrambled to find a sitter, just for that day. My stepbrother's girlfriend was basically the only person I know that doesn't work, so I called her. She says, "Sure, but I can only watch him for 6 hours, and I'll give you my family rate so it will only be $200. I asked if she was serious. She assured me she was, and that this was her livelihood and she takes it very seriously. Thatch was already offering me a family discount. Please note that it was not her livelihood. My step-brother has a great job and has always paid for everything. He has tried to get her to do anything to earn money, but she refuses to work and believes Shay should support her fully, including daily Starbucks, hair, nails, designer stuff, etc. Please also note that I had done a lot for this girl, just to help her out." The list is long. I agreed, only because I would have lost my job had I not gone to work that day. I paid her $200, which she demanded up front, to get to work for a little over 4 hours after factoring commute. Fast forward a couple of years, they have separated, they have a kid and she is living for free in his dad's extra house, and driving my dad's extra car for free. The ex pays all the bills and necessities. She finally breaks down and gets a job. Because he stopped paying for her hair, nails, etc., she has a day when her childcare falls through and ends out the same request I did. Can anyone watch my kid? I have to go to work or I'll get fired. I told her I could absolutely do it. Then charged her the same bogus price she charged me. I told her it was the family rate. She cussed me out. Edit. Why would either of us get fired has been asked a ton. Here's why. I was scheduled to teach a seminar for about 400 people. This was extremely expensive to the company once you factor all the logistics of closing operations for a day and etc. If I would have last minute cancelled, it would have cost them the same twice. Under normal circumstances, I can miss work for an emergency, but not during something like that. I'm a salary employee, so I usually work about 60 hours a week. Taking off after lunch or something isn't a big deal. It was just the magnitude of the event. She worked a job that anyone was qualified for and as on the chopping block for missing work all the time. Also, it was not her livelihood. At some point before she got with my stepbrother, she was babysitting for a family for a couple of weeks, but he fired her for being unreliable. She recognized the position I was in and threw out a number. She knew I had no choice but to pay it. Also note, she cussed me out when I tried to charge her the exact thing she charged me, so no. I wasn't just being cheap. We can't have coffee? You can't have coffee. In my last place of work, when I was looking to hire someone for my department, I would offer cold drinks and coffee at the interview in order to make them feel welcome. We could take the cold drinks out of the storage, but we had to order coffee from the kitchen and someone from the kitchen team would bring it out. One day, they called me back and said they couldn't bring me coffee since the CEO had decided coffee would only be provided for whole-day events. Grr, that cheapskate. Since then, I provided my own coffee for interviewees because to me, the welcoming impression was more important than 30 cents a cup of coffee costs. But I plotted my little revenge since I had been asked to do a workshop for the other department. Heads and the CEO also wanted to participate. He for some reason loved workshops, well why not? So the day of the workshop came, I prepped the room, the participants trickled in and got settled, including the CEO. I greeted the group and laid out the plan for the next few hours, asked if there were any questions. The CEO asked, "Can we maybe call the kitchen and ask where the coffee is?" They seemed to be running late. I made a point of taking a sip from my travel mug and then answered that there would be no coffee, because this was a half-day workshop and our new rules said that coffee would only be provided for whole-day events. I still cherish the surly look he gave me in response. He did not say anything and instead opened a bottle of water, and #X200B, edit to address some of recurrent comments. I'm female, so please imagine the coffee is foreclosures guy with long hair, a smaller nose and some itties. No, I didn't get fired. Who the hell gets fired for such a thing, even if you live in a place without workers' rights? For the questions about how this affected my relationship with the CEO down the line. We didn't get along anyway after an incident where he tried to UCK me over financially. This was not a problem, though, since I had a boss that was between him and me in hierarchy, and if I ever needed anything, I just told her and she made it happen. I didn't really have to deal with him. Bullied me in 6th grade? I got my revenge 15 years later, lol. I had a bully in middle school who used to torment the life out of me by beating me up, pouring water in me, locking me in bathrooms, making fun of my weight, etc. I recently saw on Facebook that he's engaged, so I stupidly thought of a petty revenge plan. I used an old Instagram account and posed as a pretty woman and DM'd him. 20 minutes later he messaged me back. We chatted where I pretended to be a woman and he began to flirt. I screenshotted all his sexts in case he mightn't send them, including the NSFW pics that he sent. I forwarded those screenshots to his fiancée and bada boom, the engagement photos from their Facebook were deleted the next day. Was this too much? Confronted in a parking lot because I legally used a handicapped spot, he wound up with DUI, pretty certain. I'm a healthy-looking 55-year-old male but have a degenerative nerve disorder and ataxia, balance issues, so have a very hard time walking. I pull into a handicapped spot at the grocery store, put my placard up, and get myself out of the car. A very angry person about my age runs up to me screaming about how I'm stealing a handicapped spot from someone who needs it. As he went on, I pulled out my walker and started walking to the store as he continued making a scene. As I walked to the store, a cop who just happened to be there asked what happened. I just told him some people don't get it, pointed to my walker, and went about my business. About 30 minutes later I came out of the store and noticed the guy was getting a field sobriety test. I sat in my car and watched as he eventually got arrested. Maybe next time he'll keep his mouth shut. Gas rewards. I only had a bar of soap in my hand at the supermarket, and as I headed toward the 12 items or less line, a Karen with a half-full cart sped up and swooped in front of me, banging my arm with the front corner of the cart. No apology. As she was putting her items on the conveyor belt, I started counting out loud, 1, 2, 3, just to make a point. A small petty revenge. Around the time I hit 20, a woman joined the line behind me, saw what I was doing, and she began counting with me, kinda like a two-part harmony, that ended at 31. Karen ignored us, but then there was an item that didn't scan with the proper price, so the cashier had to page for a price check. Another 2 minutes went by until the kid came back with a barcode for the cashier. When the cashier announced the total, Karen realized that her loyalty number wasn't in, and told the cashier it needed to be there, because I used the gas rewards. When the cashier asked for her phone number, I pulled out my phone and typed it in to save it. The woman behind me, who had been counting with me, asked me in a whisper if I were planning on giving Karen a call. She started laughing when I told Harry was planning on going to the gas station and using the phone number for the gas rewards. Here would be the petty revenge. I checked out and went straight to the pumps, entered the customer's phone number for the gas rewards, and got a 40-cent per gallon discount on my gas that day. Cut down our tree? The property manager would like a word with you. And a check. So I'm single again, after 3 years. This is relevant because my ex-BF exacted his own petty revenge by cutting down the willow tree where we first kissed. We had ducked under the branches, forming a sort of yellow-green umbrella, almost completely blocking out the rest of the world. It was an incredibly romantic moment, and I think more than anything else I'm mad at how that was ruined for me by his hitty move. I forwarded his text bragging about it right to the property manager of the fourplex we lived in. But that's not the petty revenge, or at least not all of it. A couple of weekends later, I saw him out in the garden with a bunch of tools. He had some kind of off-road tiller thingy that he used to get rid of the stump, a pickaxe, shovels, etc. I learned later that in lieu of being sued and or arrested, the landlord made him clear off remains of the old tree, excavate the stump and plant a new willow tree in its place. I assume he had to pay them some money as well, but I have no way to confirm. So the petty revenge. After an entire day off grinding, picking, digging, hauling dirt, etc., he got pretty mucked up. Being the idiot he was, had decided to come up and ask if he could shower off before leaving. And I said, "You can quote me on this, UCK no." And so my SS whole ex had to put his mud and sweat covered SS into his pristine Dodge Ram something pickup that he treats like it's made out of cotton wool and needs to be kept in plastic sleeves like a rare Pokemon card. I watched his lame attempt at putting newspaper down on the seat, only to drop 1,000 F-bombs after he noticed the newsprint rubbing off. It didn't make up for the loss of a beautiful tree, or how he poisoned one of the best memories I had of our relationship. But it helped to confirm that dumping his ass was the right decision.